I wonder if you've ever noticed how children can go from caring about something with their whole heart to then seem like they don't care at all. These interactions in children can sometimes communicate to us as adults that ultimately whatever they were caring about wasn't that important, seeing as they were able to 1 minute care about it a lot and then the next not care about it at all. This also impacts the way we speak and interact with children, regards to whatever that is. It could be a stuffy, a book they're reading, a TV show they're watching, or a person that they are interacting with. Often, we as the adults can come into these moments, come into these interactions, and expect the child to drop what they're doing and move on with no trouble at all. That said, children can sometimes have difficulty within these moments, transitioning from something that they were doing. When that does happen, we as the adults sometimes get confused as to why, because they seem to care one moment and then didn't care the next. Let's think of a moment where we've experienced something along these lines, where we assumed that what the child was doing wasn't that important, and so we asked them to transition out of it or do something else, but then, in fact, it was important, and you enter into sort of a power struggle with the child, where they want to stay and you want them to move on. Picture this. You're at a friend's house and you're talking with them, playing with their children, and you're just having a good time. You're playing on the playmat with the child and their parents. At the corner of your eye, you notice a kitchen station with play pots and pans, play aprons, play food, and you go to ask the child, "Hey, would you like to go play over there?" To which the child says, "No, I'm just gonna play with this." You continue on to play for about 10-15 minutes. At that point, it's time for you to leave. Just as you're getting ready to leave, the child goes to play in the kitchen area and seems to be completely engrossed in cooking something up. Your friends, standing at the door with you, go on to tell the child that it's time for you to go, and they want the child to come and say bye. The child goes on to ignore the parents and continues cooking. The parents try a few more times, and the child responds but is unwilling to come say bye to you. So here is a moment where earlier the child didn't seem interested in this play kitchen. Then, just as you were leaving, the child goes on to play in the play kitchen. Let's think about what is going on in the child's mind at this moment. And also, how would you choose to interact with this child? How would you support the child to transition from what they're doing to then go on to say bye and be okay with it? The thing is, in this moment, it's very easy for us as adults to just think, you know, they weren't playing with it before, and now they're playing with it, so it mustn't be too important. They can just leave and go and say goodbye. But to the child, they are doing something very important. They're cooking something, they're bringing their ideas to life, they're focusing on what they're doing. And so, for an adult to just come in and say, "Hey, stop what you're doing so you can go say bye," we're interrupting what they're doing. We're interrupting these ideas that are coming to life. Regardless of how the child was interacting with this kitchen prior to playing with it, they are showing to us now that they care about it, and it's something that they want to be doing. In many ways, this shift in posture is an invitation for us as adults to enter into this moment, to care about what the child is caring about. Indeed, sometimes we think it's pointless, and the child should just be able to say goodbye and drop what they're doing. But as children are making connections with themselves, the world around them, other fellow human beings, it's important to show that we care. Because through that care, we are able to support them through this transition, which then allows them to make more connections, more understandings of the world around them. So what would that look like? What would it look like to care for what the child is caring about, and then support them through this transition? In the end, I walked up to this child and verbally showed them that I cared about what they were doing. I said to them, "Oh, it looks like you are cooking something really yummy, and you are really focused on what you're cooking." The child said, "I just got hungry and I want to make some spaghetti." I said to the child, "Oh yes, that's important. If you're hungry, you must make something for yourself to eat." The child then looked at me and smiled and then continued cooking. I then said to the child that it's time for me to go and that I was glad that they were able to cook something for themselves, seeing as they were hungry. I then asked the child, "I wonder if you can let your spaghetti just sit on the stove for a little bit while you come to the door and say goodbye to me." The child then put a few more ingredients into their spaghetti, put the spaghetti on the element, and then walked with me to the door, where we said our goodbyes, and then they quickly ran back to their kitchen. In the end, the child didn't have to come to the door. I could have very well said goodbye to the child at the play kitchen. The thing is, this was a transition that the parents and the child were working on. And so, in seeing this shift of not playing with the kitchen to then playing with the kitchen intensively, it's an invitation for me to care for what the child is caring for, but then take that care to support them through what they're learning. When we take the time to care, when we take the time to step out of our own shoes, to take a moment to notice what the child is noticing, then we are able to understand why they care so much about what they're doing. And we can support them to understand how they can hold on to this care, to in a way protect it while they transition to do other things. The child can then construct different connections to help them better engage with the world around them. As they engage with the world around them, they can more confidently be present as they watch, think, be.